What's up, YouTube? We're back with another episode of What the Hell Am I Doing? And this week, we're doing another episode of Spicy Sports Bets, but we're not doing punishment because I was correct again last week picking Canelo. You can never pick against Canelo. He's too young, he's too good. He's got some years left being this good. You can't pick against him for a while. I don't know what's next for him, but man, he's great to watch. And, I had no doubt at all watching that fight. It was a little closer than I expected it to be. Billy Joe Saunders, you got to give him some credit. He hung in there. He did give Canelo a bit of a tough fight at first. It seemed like he was landing some jabs, and he was having a little bit of success keeping him off. Not that he won any rounds, but, he did look a little more competent against Canelo than I expected. But that being said, Canelo was dominant, and he did win every round and eventually broke his eye socket and ended the fight. But Billy Joe Saunders is a tough fighter, so let's give him credit. You got to respect anybody that steps in there, especially if somebody steps in there with a legend like Canelo. And that was a pretty good fight, so fans got their money's worth. And man, was it nice to see 73,000 fans in attendance. Hard to believe that where I live, we're still being told to stay at home. Yeah, so there's that. So that was pretty good. So there's no punishment this week for you guys. But I'm going to make a new bet. Well, 2 new bets today. So I think that's going to be good. Yeah. Oh, before we do that, quick garden update. Right there is a picture of my plants that I just took this afternoon. I've been weathering them outside for the last week and a half now, whenever it's sunny. And if it's been kind of so-so, I've been leaving them out longer. To you new growers out there or people who are wondering about this, you should weather your plants slowly. Part of the process is having a fan blowing on them when you're growing them inside. That helps strengthen everything as it develops and lessens the need to worry about wind damage. But when you're bringing a plant that's grown inside to outside, you have to weather it because the elements are different than anything you can simulate. So you have to slowly, gradually give them more sun. I like to give them an hour of midday sun, the brightest sun of the day in the beginning. I like to start them at about an hour and then bring them in, and then the next day an hour and a half, and just kind of keep adding every day. And, some days mix it up. Give them later in the afternoon sun, leave them out for a bit longer. But the idea is you slowly build them up to seeing, a good chunk of time that is comparable to what they'll see normally. But you want to gradually build them up over a couple of weeks. And that will help them not die when you bring them outside. It's a little grow tip for you guys. And that's what my plants are looking like now. And soon we'll do a proper tour. I think next weekend I'll be putting them in their final homes. So maybe I'll do a video about how that works and everything. And we'll go from there. All right, well, tonight is a big night. It is UFC 262. There's some big fights on the card tonight. I'm excited about the card. Some of the prelims will be good, and a lot of the main event, or main card fights will be good, including the main event, of course. So it's going to be a good night again. The last UFC pay-per-view was pretty fantastic. And so the 2 fights I'm going to pick from tonight are going to be Tony Ferguson versus Beneil Dariush, and I'm also going to pick Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler. We'll start with Ferguson versus Dariush. Well, I'm going to probably have to say that I think Tony Ferguson has seen his best days. He's getting up there in age. He got destroyed in his last fight. And, I'm not sure what to expect. I think Charles Oliveira destroyed him in his last fight. I have to check that. But I think Oliveira fought him last and he destroyed him. But I could be wrong. So, I'm going to have to double check my facts on that, but I'm pretty sure that was Tony Ferguson's last fight last year. He didn't look great in his last fight. He looked slow, he looked old, he got hit a lot, and he got beat up. Or maybe it was Gaethje that beat him up. Or maybe they both beat him up. Yes, he's on a 2-fight losing streak. Anyways, Tony Ferguson's, I believe, on a 2-fight losing streak, and he's been beaten up at least 2 fights in a row by, I believe, Oliveira and Justin Gaethje. Fact check me if I'm wrong, people. Let me know in the comments. Anyways, I'm a Ferguson fan. I like his awkward style. I like his weirdness. For a long time, he could strike and do a lot of things that were dangerous that could back that up. However, ever since suffering that knee injury a few years ago when he was trying to fight Khabib for the 17th time, he self-rehabbed himself. He came back and had a good fight after that, but afterwards, he wasn't really himself. And I think that's partially due to age. I think it's partially due to the injury, and I don't know if it's because he rehabbed himself or if not. And he also had a dispute with the UFC recently about money and how they handle injuries. So, this stuff going on. So I'm not sure how I feel about Ferguson anymore. I mean, I like the guy, but I think he's at that point now where he's on the down part of his career. I think he's getting old, and I think the slower he gets with age, the more hittable he's going to get, and the more he gets beat up. And Dariush is no joke. I think this guy has, an interesting future. And if he can have a really good showing against Ferguson tonight, really dominant physical showing, I think that says a lot about who he is and where he could go. Because even though Ferguson's on his way out, he's still a named fighter that hasn't been beaten badly a bunch of times yet. If he gets beaten badly tonight, it becomes a bunch of times. If he wins tonight, then that won't look good for Dariush. But I think Dariush is going to win. So I'm going to pick Dariush to win the fight tonight. I think he's going to be more aggressive, and I think he's going to get a TKO or a knockout at some point. I think unfortunately for Ferguson, the reflexes and the speed are going to be an issue, and as he gets older, it's going to get worse. I like the guy. He still might have magic to pull one or two wins, but he's not going to be a championship caliber fighter anymore, and I don't think he's going to win tonight. So Dariush, I will bet a piece of chocolate on from the Chili Cherry Nightmare. Now, from the main event, Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler. This is going to be an interesting fight, too. Charles Oliveira has won 8 fights in a row. 8. That's insane. I think that's since 2016. So that's quite an incredible run. Now, that being said, he hasn't beat the best names. He hasn't beat the biggest names. He hasn't beat Khabib. So there's some, you got to look at that a little bit like that, because the top guys were fighting Khabib or competing to fight Khabib. So keep that in mind. Michael Chandler has already been a champion at 155 in Bellator, and he's in the UFC now, not because he wants to make it and he's trying to get his way up the ladder. He's in the UFC because they want him and they pursued him. So, he had one fight to earn his title chance, and now he's getting his title chance, which was expected before he even fought his last fight. And, I believe Michael Chandler is the guy that's supposed to win. That's the plan, that's the hope, that's the design of the fight. If Oliveira wins, it's great for the UFC too. He's earned his chance, and rightfully so. These two are fighting for this opportunity to take the belt tonight. And whoever wins fairly deserves it. Oliveira is on a great streak, so if he wins it, he'll look great as a champion. And if Chandler wins it, then that's kind of what I think was expected to happen. I personally think Chandler's going to win. I think Oliveira will not be able to handle his pressure. His wrestling is going to be, pretty relevant in this fight, I think. And I think Chandler has been a champion before, so he knows what it takes to be a champion. And champs recognize champs. Not that I don't respect Oliveira, I think he's going to crumble under the pressure that Chandler puts on him tonight. So I think that's what we're going to see, and that's why I'm betting the other piece of the Chili Cherry Nightmare on that fight. So you guys should tune into the UFC 262 tonight and see what happens. All right. Well, that being said, I think that's all we're going to talk about today. I think we're going to do a live very soon. It's a long weekend next week, so I think we're going to plan to do something then, so you guys should stay posted for that. I think we're going to do some Tarkov. Maybe I'll get my buddy to do it with me so we can at least do some duos or something and make it a little more interesting. But yeah, next weekend we'll see how this goes. I think there's fights next week. There should be. There always are now. And depending on how this goes, there either be a punishment or we'll be doing other picks. But because it's a long weekend and I'm going to be doing some gardening and getting my plants ready, I'm going to do a video about that. And then I'll be working on finishing my review that I've been talking about for months. I'm doing a review on the Instant Pot. I'm not going to keep the cat in the bag forever. And I've been, cooking different things and taking pictures and kind of just putting together stuff to get it ready. And so I'm going to put all that together and, show you guys some cool stuff that thing can do, especially single dudes like the champ. But yeah, that's it for now. Make sure you subscribe. Check out last week's video where I picked Canelo to win correctly. Check out this random video here. And we'll see what happens tonight in UFC 262. And we'll see how that goes for next week. Thanks for tuning in. See you then.